So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another Way of the Hunter video. Now this video was recorded during the early access period for Tikamoon Plains, so a huge thank you to Nine Rocks Games and the Way of the Hunter team for allowing me to take part in this early access. Now in this video we're going to be taking a look at a few trophies that I ended up finding literally on my first few hours here on Tikamoon Plains. Now I originally was going to be shooting this 1-star mature Cape Buffalo bull and I was waiting for him to give me a shot when I noticed this and I immediately thought, that doesn't look like a normal Cape Buffalo. That doesn't look like any of the Cape Buffalo I have seen so far. But we got told there were not going to be any rares on Tikamoon Plains on release, so I hadn't really been looking for any rares. But when I saw this, I was like, that has to be an albino. It has to be. And I got my binoculars up on it, spotted it, and it was a young female. So I knew it must be a rare, because there was no reason for it to be that pale. Also in the nearby area, I found a 4-star mature Cape Buffalo, and we'll come back to him later. I kept checking on him whilst I was trying to hunt this albino female Cape Buffalo, and basically I decided, seeing as the new weapons that came with this map were the bows, that it would be really awesome to try and take this beautiful albino female with the bow. And oh my gosh, did this start just the longest, most just insane process of trying to get close to these Cape Buffalo. And it was just harrowing with how difficult it was to get close to these guys. These guys are so alert. So alert. Basically, the only way I found to actually get close to them was to drive as close to them as possible with the ATV, practically to where they would go alert, then drop down immediately to the ground, and if you could get a couple of them to go alert, sometimes a couple of them would get curious and then come over to check you out. And that was the only way that I could ever really get close enough to actually get within bow range. You can see we have this Cape Buffalo bull here, much closer than the albino, and that was one that got curious and kept coming over to check me out. He knew I was there the whole time, and he would keep coming over, looking at me, and then wandering away. Unfortunately, he gets too close in this particular instance, and he ends up then trotting away, which ends up making these guys walk away. But for a moment here, I was going to get ready to take my shot. She was well within range, and then you can see the whole herd turns around and trots the other way because this particular bull got a bit close and got a bit nervous. He didn't even fully spook, he just got nervous. So, after several hours of trying to get close to that albino, I decided to check on the 4-star mature Cape Buffalo bull that I had seen, and sure enough, he had become a 5-star Cape Buffalo bull. One of my absolutely most wanted trophies on the entire map. And these two buffalo were literally just down the road from each other, like a few hundred meters. It was wild. So when I would get close to the albino, if she ended up spooking before I could get into bow range, I'd literally just get back on the ATV, drive down the road, and check on this mature Cape Buffalo. And he went from 4 stars to 5 stars after several hours of me trying to get close to that albino. So the albino hunt went on pause, because obviously this guy could end up dying at any time. But my dream for this map was to take a 5-star Cape Buffalo bull with the bow. And you can see these guys are alert, but if you watch what they do, they'll actually kind of walk towards you. And I had this happening after they'd go alert, and then sometimes even after they calmed down, they would end up walking sort of towards you. And I was literally just waiting for this guy to give me a shot opportunity. I wanted him at about 20 meters because I had never used the bow. I really want to emphasize this. I was trying so hard to get so close because I had never used the bow. The only couple of shots I had taken with the bow were at the ground just to get a feel of what it was like to actually shoot with the bow. That was it. I had no experience of actually shooting any animals with the bow at all when I decided to actually try and take these couple of Cape Buffalo with the bow. It was a complete spur of the moment decision because, well, this is my opportunity already to try and take some trophy Cape Buffalo with the bow. Obviously, I was not expecting to encounter a freaking albino after we got told that there were going to be no rares on release. That was a huge surprise to come across that, but there was no doubt in my mind that that was a rare. So, you know, initially I was just going to take that female albino with the bow, and then this guy ends up being a 5-star. And I literally said in one of my videos leading up to this that my dream was to take a 5-star Cape Buffalo with the bow. And you can see we have this 5-star here, and next to him on the left-hand side there is actually a 3-star mature, so I'll have to keep an eye on him. But you can see, these guys are calm, but he is curiously walking towards me. And at this point, it had been hours, and I decided, you know what, I'm literally just going to fling an arrow at this guy and hope that things go well at this point, because I felt like this was my last chance to get a shot at him. And I take the shot, the game lags, and lags out as I take that shot, which is so unfortunate, because it worked. I dropped a 5-star Cape Buffalo with the bow. Now, unfortunately, he landed absolutely terribly for any kind of trophy shot, but that arrow was exactly where I wanted it to go. Like, exactly. He just dropped, and I'm so gutted that I had a lag spike right when I took that shot, because I couldn't have asked for a better shot. Like I said, at this point, it was basically desperation. I spent hours tracking both the albino and this guy, trying to get shots on them. It was hours and hours of footage just trying to get shots on them, and it just never working out. They'd either get close and then turn around and spook before I could get a chance to get a shot, or another member of the herd would come close and cause them to spook. Just nothing was working. And so that's why I decided, do you know what, I'm going to take a longer shot and hope and pray that this bow is strong enough to get good penetration on a frontal shot. And it freaking got all the way through to the heart and dropped this guy on the spot. Holy. I did it. I've taken a 5-star Cape Buffalo with the bow. I couldn't be happier. Such a cool experience. The hours and hours and hours and hours of tracking and trying to get close to him and it just not working out. It was all worth it. It was all worth it. I've taken a 5-star Cape Buffalo with the bow. Literally, my dream has happened already. I couldn't be happier. He's not huge on the score, 476, so I wonder if there are maybe even a bigger style of horns yet, or just different horn styles in general for the 5-star Cape Buffalo. But what a freaking beast! He's huge! You will have seen as he was walking around, the sheer size of this guy. What an impressive animal. Just stunning. Absolutely incredible. And to say I've taken one of these incredible giants with the bow already, I am more than pleased. More than pleased. It's so unfortunate, and it really broke my heart that it lagged right as I took that shot. Thankfully, it was only for a split second. But it was really, after all this time getting close to him and, all the failed attempts, the final time, and when it finally works out, that's when you're gonna lag. It was just but thankfully it wasn't too bad, and thankfully the footage was still usable and it didn't lag out too badly. But what an experience. What an experience to actually take one of these guys with the bow. I can't believe I've done it already. It's just so cool. To me, that's so cool. That's so cool to me. I'm really thrilled. I never thought I was actually going to get a shot on him with just how difficult these are to approach. They are really hard to approach. I mean, they were spotting me at 150 plus meters when I was on the ground crawling. Literally that strategy of driving to within as close as possible and then trying to get a couple to go alert and then hope that they'll come over and investigate you. That was literally the only way I could find to get these guys close enough for a bow shot. It was worth it though. And you can see, literally my first Cape Buffalo harvest, it literally unlocks part of the encyclopedia, is a 5-star Cape Buffalo. That is the first one I ended up shooting, which is insane. but now returning to try and take down the albino female. Now, we knew aging had happened because the 4-star Cape Buffalo bull went and became a 5-star, and obviously we just took him down in the previous clip. And this Cape Buffalo female went from being a youngster to now being an adult. So she's a little bit older than when we initially spotted her, which, again, it was just such a long period of time trying to get close to her. But now I knew the capabilities of that bow and how powerful it was, I was more than happy to take a longer shot. And as she stands here broadside, she gave me a really perfect shot opportunity. She was about 35 metres away, so I shot a little bit high, and I was just watching to see if she was going to start stumbling, and I could see already she was stumbling, she was going to go down. I could even just see the blood there very briefly as I brought the binos up. She was going down. Finally, after hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of trying to get close to these couple of buffalo, finally we had the 5-star down, and now finally the one that started it all, this albino female. And I was just watching her here, just waiting for her to expire, and something very unexpected happened. You have been attacked by an animal and lost consciousness. Now, I never saw what I'm assuming was another Cape Buffalo charging me, because I was so focused on watching that female to see when she would finally expire and I could go and harvest her. But I thought, no problem, it respawned me at the main lodge, and I thought I'd just fast travel back to the nearest lodge and get on the ATV and just drive back to that spot. And by the time I got back there, the herd that I'd shot her from were already back there, and I was driving around and I start panicking. There's no sign of any big white Cape Buffalo led anywhere on the ground. Immediately I started to feel a bit sick, and I was looking around in Hunter Sense like, okay, maybe I've just misjudged slightly where I actually shot it, and at this point I was a little bit too far, so I reversed all the way back up here, because I knew that there was a decent blood trail, and I saw the blood there. You can see it in the Hunter Sense, really nice strong pink blood trail. I knew obviously I'd got her good because she led down to expire, she was going to die, and then you can see the end of that blood trail in these couple of little bushes where she led down to expire, and there's no buffalo. There's no buffalo. I could have cried. I was just devastated. It's like, I'm so gutted about this. You can see the blood trail right to here, right where it stops. This is where she led down to expire, and there's no buffalo. So I assume that what happened is when I got knocked out and got sent back to the main lodge, that she de-rendered or just bugged out or something because she was led on the ground dying, and the carcass just wasn't there. There was no animal to be able to harvest. So all of that time that went into actually trying to get close to her and to get her down with the bow, it ended up with no trophy for me, which is really unfortunate. Thankfully, I did use camera mode when I first spotted her to get some close-up looks at her, so while we can't look at her in the harvest screen, which is what obviously I would have preferred, we do get to take a couple of close-up looks at her here and compare her to the common Cape Buffalo next to her. And you can see it's definitely an albino, like there's no question. All of the albinos in Way of the Hunter have those blue eyes, and obviously she's got the pink nose and everything. That's 110% an albino. Just unfortunately, no albino for the lodge for me, which is really sad. I mean, thankfully it was a female and not a bull, because most of the mounts use bulls. There's only one mount that I could find that uses a female Cape Buffalo, but still really, really sad, and I can only hope that I will get redemption in the future and get to take down another albino one day. But to end on a bit more of a cheerful note, the actual first 5-star I ended up finding on Tikamoon Plains was this, an Egyptian goose. So at this point I actually had spotted the 4-star Cape Buffalo, I hadn't spotted the albino, and I was driving around, looking around, just trying to spot animals, and I spotted this flock of Egyptian geese going overhead, and amongst them was this 5-star mature. And I love the Egyptian geese. They are so incredibly beautiful. The models for these guys are fantastic. Now, as with all the waterfowl in Way of the Hunter, there are improvements that could be made, you know, with the animations and the behaviour and stuff, but the actual models for these guys are incredibly good. And you can see the first shot that impacted was literally just one pellet, and then we missed a few shots, and then the second shot actually got him really, really well. There was a lot of pellets that actually impacted the goose that time, which was a relief, because as it was getting away, I was getting more and more worried that I was just going to end up completely missing, which would have been slightly embarrassing. But he is a 5-star mature, 90.08% on the genetics, and this was my first ever 5-star on Tikamoon Plains. Didn't expect to end up with a 5-star for any of the small game to begin with, but I'm really, really happy because the Egyptian geese, like I said, are really, really beautiful, and the models are fantastic. They look a little bit odd in the actual harvest screen and the inspect screen, and I think it's just because of the way that the models are positioned to be in this screen, because in the lodge and everything, they look really, really fantastic. I mean, they are absolutely beautiful. And you can still see the details and stuff on the model with the feathers and everything in this screen, but it just looks a little bit weird with like the angle of the head and the way that the wings are kind of clipping into the body in this screen. But just such a beautiful bird. Egyptian geese are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really pleased that they are a species that has actually been included on this map. I really love having the option to have, you know, small game and stuff in the trophy lodge, so really, really happy about this. And you can see those beautiful green and orange wing feathers, just stunning looking. And the detail on the models and everything is, you know, to me, I think it's pretty well done. I think there could be more detail with the feathers and stuff on the head, neck, and sort of chest area, but overall, I think these are still really, really beautiful. So pleased to actually end up with a 5-star for these, for the trophy lodge, and hopefully it'll be the first of many. There's a lot of small plaques to fill, and, you know, these guys are just so gorgeous, so hopefully we'll be able to get plenty more of them to put into the trophy lodge. Such a fantastic 5-star to end up finding. You know, sometimes the geese and the ducks and some of the other small game can be a little bit more difficult to get the 5 stars of. They can just be tricky to actually manage and to end up finding the 5 stars for. So really happy to actually end up getting this. It was a bit of a rushed situation when I ended up spotting it, and I had to quickly drive to follow the flock and get underneath them to be able to spot the 5-star and actually bring it down. But it all worked out, thankfully, in the end, and actually got to harvest this one, which is really, really nice. Score of 456, so not huge. They can obviously get a lot bigger than this, but I am absolutely thrilled to just have a 5-star for these already. To get one straight away and actually have that as my first Egyptian goose harvest was pretty darn awesome. But that is going to be it for this video, so thank you so much for watching. A lot of ups and downs with this video, I swear. It was so wild to record, and just to, like I said, to spend so many hours tracking those buffalo, and then to have the game lag out on the shot with the 5-star, and then it didn't lag and it all went perfect with the albino, but then for the game to bug out and me not be able to harvest her is so sad. And I've tried closing and opening the game again. I've tried switching maps, because you can sometimes find carcasses of animals that you have shot previously, that if you've left them on the ground you can find them again. So I hoped that maybe by opening, closing the game and stuff it would get her to come back. But I've been back to the spot many times, and there's just a blood trail leading to where she led, and absolutely no buffalo to claim. Maybe one day it randomly pops back up on the ground and we'll harvest it then, and obviously if that happens I'll record it. But for now, I don't think I'm going to be able to harvest my albino Cape buffalo. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more in the future though, and hopefully we'll be able to get a bull as well for the lodge, and hopefully that'll end up happening. And yeah, I'm still pleased that I got to see an albino and actually know that they exist, which is something we didn't know before I ended up going onto this map. So yeah, that was really exciting, and obviously getting to take the 5-star buffalo with the bow was absolutely incredible. But like I said, that is going to be it for this one, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.